I've got a new lens, a Voigtlander lens, and I want to share with you why this lens and what are my first impressions about this Voigtlander lens and how this lens is acting in my two systems, on Fujifilm and also on Leica cameras. Hi there, Tudor Matescu here. In this video I want to address my new lens that I've ordered from MPB. It's a hard to find lens for the moment at least, and when I saw it online I've said okay, I must buy it because probably I will not have another chance, because how I've said, this lens is pretty hard to find. So this lens now, it's mounted on Fujifilm X Pro 3, and I've did a test with Fujifilm X Pro 3 and this lens, and wow, I am amazed that the character of this lens is keeping up on the APS-C Fujifilm sensor. I will touch on these Voigtlander lenses Leica M mount and Fujifilm because I think we can make here a great pair. So the lens, it is the Voigtlander 35mm Nocton f1.5 lens Leica M mount. So here it is, the lens on Fujifilm X Pro 3. Nocton 35mm f1.5 with a focusing tab and with nice clicks. But of course, I've decided to buy this lens not just for my Fujifilm cameras. This is an added bonus. I've decided to buy it for my Leica M camera. So here it is, Leica M, and I feel it is lighter with this Voigtlander 35mm f2.4, that it's a very light lens. So I've bought it for my Leica. It is the Type 2 lens, so it's made from brass and it will be a little heavier than Type 1. I would have wished to buy the Type 1, but that version I wasn't able to find it online for the moment, and I forgot with all the versions that Voigtlander is making out there that the Type 1, it is the same lens and the same construction as the Type 2. So there isn't a Mark 1 and a Mark 2. No, there are three versions. Type 1 made from aluminum, black, and very light, 180 grams, something like this, and the other is made from brass and has 280 grams. Type 2 that comes in this black, in a shiny black version or in silver version. So anyway, very confusing, very confusing, and in the end I feel that the package is okay on my Leica system. It's making the Leica a little bit heavier. Yes, it would have been better if I would have the chance to buy the aluminum version, but overall I feel that the weight in the end it's okay, and it's very doable with a second lens, the Leica camera, and this 35mm f1.5. So here is the lens on the Leica M. It's staying very well in the hand. I would have wished to add a thumb grip for my Leica M, but unfortunately I wasn't able to find a compatible thumb grip. I've ordered two thumb grips and none was well made for my Leica, none. So for the moment I'm using my Leica without a thumb grip. So anyway, why I've decided to buy this lens and not the 35mm f1.4, that it's cheaper and smaller and lighter and so on. So first of all, I've decided to buy this lens because of the f1.5 aperture. I needed a fast lens, especially in low light photography, in indoor photography, but also for subject to background separation, for portraits, and for all the advantages that an f1.5 lens can bring to you. So it's very important, even if it's a full frame and you can get a nice depth of field with just the f2.4 aperture in low light, you really need at least an f1.8, and why not f1.4, f1.5. So this lens, from my research, it's very close to the Leica Summilux 35mm f1.4, the old version, but also the new version. So the users that are using this lens, and also when I've looked at the pictures online, are saying that this lens, it is something between these two Summilux lenses, the old 35mm f1.4 Leica lens and the new FLE version. So the lens is very sharp lens, that it's bringing lots of details, too much details I would say. So on the Leica very sharp, crazy sharp. The bokeh is very, very smooth, so I'm really liking what I'm seeing, how the background is melted and how the foreground also is melted. The subject to background separation, it is very, very good. The clicks are very, very nice. Build quality top notch, really loving it. Also the micro contrast and the 3D pop. At different apertures, f1.5, f2, f2.8, it is crazy good. I didn't have the chance yet to use it in street photography with a closed aperture, but from the research that I've did online, the lens, it is very, very well controlled, very sharp. It's resolving the 60 megapixel sensor of the Leica M11, So this is very important, a bulletproof lens, and I'm really liking the lens. So at first I was afraid probably I would not like it. Probably it will render in a way that I will not like it. I had my doubts because I wasn't able to see lots of portraits online with this lens, and I want to use this lens especially for portraits with the 35-meter field of view. I really want to do this kind of photography with this lens. So I had my doubts. It will render how I want it to render, and yes, it renders how I want it to render, too sharp and too modern from time to time, but this sharpness and this modern look is very easily controllable from the clarity effect in Adobe Lightroom. So in Adobe Lightroom, I'm taking the clarity down and the texture slide down to -20, and the images are still popping like crazy. They are still sharp, they still have micro contrast. So this is really great news. It's something that I didn't expect, because I feel I have the power to take this lens wherever I want. So if I want a modern sharp lens, I can let it without any adjustment, or I can take the clarity down. I can also add a mist filter eventually, or I can put the clarity with +10 and the texture with +10, and I will have a very sharp, crazy image. So I'm really liking how the results are coming from this lens. Also in the JPEGs, the colors are very nice looking, and all is working very well with this lens. Also the Leica focused very easily and well with the rangefinder patch with this lens. So I really had no worries in acquiring focus at f1.5. So overall, the lens is performing outstanding, and for the price, I really do feel that I have here a really premium lens that it's above the price that Voigtlander is asking for this lens. And where the advantages are coming when I'm talking about this lens and a Fujifilm camera. Well, I've mounted, how I've said, the lens on Fujifilm X Pro 3, and I was afraid that I will lose the micro contrast and I will lose the characteristics of the lens. So from one shot, two shots indoors here, on my Mario puppet test, I was able to see that no, the lens, the full frame lens, it's keeping the micro contrast, the details on the APS-C sensor. I will shoot it more and I will see the results. But where I want to get, Voigtlander is making now lenses for Fujifilm, and this is great. But if you have two systems, like me, a Fujifilm camera and a Leica camera, why buy a Voigtlander dedicated lens for your Fujifilm camera when you can buy one lens and adapt it? So I had my doubts before that, because I was reading that some users are adapting Leica M lenses, branded Leica lenses and Voigtlander lenses, so very good lenses, to their Fujifilm cameras. And when I did this with other lenses, I felt that I was losing much of the micro contrast, of the 3D pop and all the goodies that a lens, a vintage lens, has. I was feeling that I was losing those details on my Fujifilm X Pro 3 camera or on the APS-C sensor of the Fujifilm system. But now, with the Voigtlander lenses, I feel that I'm not losing these details, and I've also tested my Leica Sumarit 50mm f2.4, and I feel that I don't lose the Leica bite, the 3D pop, the micro contrast, and this is a big thing, because I can buy one lens and adapt it between Fujifilm and Leica. Of course, some focal lenses will not offer me what a Voigtlander dedicated lens will offer me. But I need to address another tidbit here. And I don't know where Fujifilm is taking their manual focusing options, because on Fujifilm X-T5 we have great manual focusing options, and I've praised the manual focusing options from X-T5 a lot, but there is one tidbit here. They didn't address the bug, and I say it's a bug. When you lightly press the button, the focus peaking isn't disappearing. So this is a problem. I will not enter into much details. So you have a Voigtlander lens that doesn't have any firmware on it. And when Fujifilm will update the firmware, it's possible that the Voigtlander lens will not show you correct aperture. And also you have the peaking bug. Okay, this is a problem if you want to invest in a long-term use on a Voigtlander dedicated Fujifilm lens. A problem. I think Voigtlander should have put a firmware on their lenses, because if you are a Voigtlander owner, now this means that you will depend on the Fujifilm firmware, and Fujifilm has no obligation to make the Voigtlander lenses work with their cameras, unfortunately. And now this is taking me to the next big problem that I've discovered on Fujifilm X-T50. So here is Fujifilm X-T50 with the Voigtlander 27mm f2 lens. Okay, what a great package, crazy, fine. But we have a problem. We have big problems in the manual focusing department. Maybe they aren't big, but I feel there is a downgrade. From X Pro 3 to X-T5 to X-T50, I feel that Fujifilm in a way downgraded a little the way that you are manual focusing a camera. So this lens, when I will set focus check, will punch in zoom, because this is the idea. You will manual focus the lens and the lens will punch in zoom automatically. You will lightly press the shutter button and you will be able to see the entire image without focus peaking. This is how cameras are working for at least 10 years. I had Sony a7S that was working like this with Loxia lenses. What a great, amazing combo, those Zeiss Loxia lenses on Sony a7S, another discussion. But here is the problem. On X-T50, we still have the focus peaking activated, so it doesn't disappear whatever you do, but more than that, you will not automatically exit from the punch-in zoom. You will need to lightly press this wheel. And also, I've checked the Fujifilm X-T50 manual, because I said probably it's a bug. Let me look in the manual to see what Fujifilm is saying about this. And no, Fujifilm is saying in the manual that this is how the camera must work. This is how the camera is operating. If you want to exit from the focus check, press again this button. So this basically means I had no benefit of a dedicated Voigtlander lens, other that I will see in the EXIF data. In theory, the correct EXIF data, if Fujifilm will not make a firmware that will affect the EXIF data. So in theory, I really don't have any much to win with the newer Fujifilm cameras when I'm using Voigtlander dedicated lenses. Of course, we must see what Fujifilm will do with the firmware update on X-T50, if they will put at least the manual focusing options that are on X-T5. I don't have those manual focusing options, so I will not have a two-screen split, a small screen, and all the other options, so I'm very limited. But in the end, in real world use, I didn't use too much punch in zoom, but focus peaking, I was using it, and it was nice not to see red all over the image. But this is where I want to get, even if I have a dedicated Voigtlander lens, because Fujifilm on X-T50 decided to make this system on the manual focusing options, I really don't have nothing to win compared to adapting a third-party Voigtlander lens. So if these lenses are keeping the micro contrast, the details and all what I want, I will better use the Fujifilm Smart Adapter to Leica M lenses and save some money by buying just Leica M and Voigtlander lenses for the Leica mount and adapting them to my Fujifilm. So this is food for thought. I'm not saying it's better in a way or in another, but also I feel in the workflow of a photographer it will be easier to have lenses that you can put from one system to another system and also keep the goodies of those lenses. I will need to test more the Voigtlander lenses and Leica M lenses on my Fujifilm camera to make a final judgment. But overall, I feel that Voigtlander is making great amazing lenses, also for Fujifilm, also for Leica, and also for the micro four cell system. Their lenses are crazy good. I'm really loving them, and another advantage of this lens is that the bokeh, it is pretty smooth. So I will test more this lens and I will come back with more reviews about this lens on the Leica system and also on the Fujifilm system. So in conclusion, I hope Fujifilm will not downgrade the manual focusing options that they are able to have on X-T5, put them on X-T50, put them on X Pro 4 and improve them like Nikon ZF. So don't downgrade it because we have those great amazing lenses. Why go back to my X Pro 3? So I'm liking more how the X Pro 3 is working with a Voigtlander dedicated lens or with a Voigtlander that it's not dedicated, that it's a Leica M mount lens. The X Pro 3, it's working, it has a nice flow with the optical viewfinder, with the EVF and with all other goodies that are on X Pro 3 camera. So subscribe to my channel for more content like this, subscribe to my newsletter, leave me your comments and give it a like to this video, and also please check the next video that is appearing right now on the screen. Thank you and I will talk to you soon. Bye bye.